it has redefined the way you look at patriotism, your love for the country. Tell me, what does patriotism mean to you, and how do while you were making this movie, did you think that it's going to redefine this particular space for years to come?
No, I made the film from the heart, and it was borrowed from real life and inspired life, and we dramatized that as such. I'm from an Air Force school, Bal Bharati Air Force in New Delhi, and we would have a MiG-21 plane in the main foyer as you enter the gates. उसका ढांचा था, मतलब without the engine, the shell of the plane. And later in life, when the plane started crashing due to a corruption scandal, which the CAG had unearthed, it was a 2,000 crore scandal of faulty trigger mechanism parts. So it made your blood boil. It also urged you to do something about it. And as a writer, as a director, the best I could do was to make a movie as such. And that was my expression at that point of time. When you talk about patriotism, patriotism is not thumping your chest. As per Rang De Basanti and as per my belief, definitely. It's not pointing a finger to somebody else, to a neighboring nation, say, as such. Patriotism is more inclusive. It has a much higher meaning. It means that you have to get your hands dirty in running this country. And that was the final message of the film. In fact, there's a dialogue in the film कि कोई भी देश परफेक्ट नहीं होता, उसे परफेक्ट बनाना पड़ता है. एंड पुलिस ज्वाइन करेंगे, आईपीएस ज्वाइन करेंगे, आईएएस ज्वाइन करेंगे, पॉलिटिक्स ज्वाइन करेंगे और ये देश बदलेगा, हम बदलेंगे इस देश को. So it was a call to action to the youth that stop sitting on the fences, stop taking flights to America and settling there, and build your own country. Yeah, it's not easy to build a nation. It takes a generation to do that, and generations. And we are a very young country. We got our independence in 1947. So I felt, and I still feel, that until the youth jump into the middle of everything, a real change is far away. We were also inspired by the great poets of the past. Mostly Sahir Ludhianvi and Neeraj and Dinkar. And in fact, Sahir's poetry, बहुत दिनों से है मशगला सियासत का, जब जवां हो बच्चे तो कत्ल हो जाएं, was pasted on this wall right here, you're seeing. So I wrote it there, and I wrote the film looking at that every day in the morning. And there's another poem of his which is खून फिर खून है टपकेगा तो जम जाएगा, जुल्म की बात ही क्या, जुल्म की औकात ही क्या, जुल्म तो फिर जुल्म है आगाज से अंजाम तलक, खून फिर खून है 100 शक्ल बदल सकता है, ऐसी शक्लें जो मिटाए तो मिटाए ना बने, ऐसे नारे जो दबाए तो दबाए ना बने. So that gave birth to खून चला in the film. And definitely the title song Rang De Basanti. So Bhagat Singh and friends used to do street plays to evoke the emotion of the spirit of freedom among the youth. So they would go from एक मेले से दूसरे मेले में जाते थे, बैसाखी के मेले से और कहीं जाते थे, and they would perform the drama of Rang De Basanti, called Rang De Basanti as such. And it always intrigued me what made the youth of that time to put their pen down and pick up a gun. What inspired them? And then in one of the letters which Bhagat Singh had written from the jail, he said, we don't want freedom from the Goras to be enslaved by ourselves, our own. So the freedom should be, cannot be, has to be from humans exploiting humans. And आज हमें अंग्रेजों से आज़ादी मिल जाएगी, कल हमारे लोग हमारा शोषण करेंगे. And I must say his prophecy came true, sadly so. We are fiercely divided into a rich and a haves and the haves not as a nation.
You also started like work very early on this movie, 7 or 10 years. You were working on developing the story of Rang De Basanti. It was first Ahuti, and then there was an English title. I'll check the name of it. I'll written it down. And then it became Rang De Basanti. It was over a couple of drinks that you and Kamlesh ji had, and then how the story developed from there. So if you could take us on that journey.
So, like I said, I was very fascinated by the young revolutionaries. And so we were doing a film on the armed resistance of India, which was the young revolutionaries, Bismillah, Ashfaqullah Khan, Kapuri train robbery, Saunders, Jallianwala Bagh, and the bombing and the smoke bombs in the parliament, because deaf needed to hear, needed a loud voice. They were not actual bombs, they were just smoke bombs. They wouldn't harm anybody, but make a big noise. So we wrote a story around that. In fact, Kamlesh wrote it, and it was called The Young Guns of India. And I thought, let me just bounce a story with some youngsters in Bombay. So we called a group of 30, 40 youngsters, and I bounced a story of them, and they could not relate to it because they were more interested in making their first million, or going to the US to get a degree, or getting a job in a multinational, or wearing Nike shoes. They went up to that. So I thought Bombay is a bit materialistic. Let me test this in Delhi. In Delhi, the results are even more disheartening. In fact, somebody told me that Kirti Azad, the cricketer and then turned parliamentarian, was related to Chandrashekhar Azad. So they were throwing things like that at me. और भगत सिंह आज होता तो क्या होता, मतलब मैक्सिमम आर्मी ज्वाइन कर लेता या बैंक का जॉब ले लेता. तो which broke my heart. And we got into a huddle, myself and Kamlesh Pandey, and we said, you know what, we'll make a film, but it will not, people won't get it. It will be an interesting film, it will be an entertaining film, it will be a historical, and I would love to make it, but it will not go through. And then this story emerged from that story, that let's make a documentary on the revolutionaries, and the boys who are playing their documentaries, the spirit of the revolutionary enter them.
That's why parallel.
Yeah. So two parallel worlds, one in 1920s and one in 2000, and they travel. And wherever they crisscross, there's a spark there. And in the end, the lines blur. They just overlap, and you can't differentiate who is who.
What was the brief that you'd given to the actors? Because even, you just, when it starts, you get moved by them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you give them time to prepare for it?
Oh, we prepared for the film for the longest time. In fact, because the finance was not coming for the film until Ronnie Screwvala stepped in on 30th of December, and we started shooting in March then. For entire 2 years, I was struggling for money for this film. But for all those 2 years, A.R. Rahman, Aamir Khan, they all stood by me. And they said, you make this film and we'll make it happen one day or the other. Yeah.
Oh,
The brief to the actors was once this whole spirit had transferred into them and they had found it within themselves, they just had to express themselves. I didn't have to give any brief.
and you've also not repeated the genres. You've always made different kind of movies. But a movie like Rang De Basanti, can a filmmaker attempt with the kind of themes, with the kind of things that you were trying to talk about, or probably if you would yourself, make something which is so in the time, talking about our current times, talking about our current issues as a society, do you think that will be made and allowed in the way how Rang De Basanti was, to show what the reality is? Or do you think it will face a little ban or some issues here and there?
Well, Rang De Basanti was also banned. I don't know if you've done your research.
No, I didn't read the ban thing, but I read there were.
We fought it out.
Yes.
Yeah, and then finally the establishment saw the intention of the film. In fact, the film was viewed by the then Defense Minister, Honorable Pranab Mukherjee, and the three head of Army, Navy and Air Force in one theatre in Delhi. And then he went on to become the President of India. So it had gone up to that level of, see, you don't tell stories thinking about whether they will be allowed or not allowed. Then stories will never come out if you think of a result and not the process. So I think social cinema has always been there, will always be there, which picks up social issues and issues of the citizen and the society. Right from Bicycle Thief to Bandit Queen to Rang De Basanti to Do Biga Zameen, Mother India in its own way, were all films which dealt with various challenges we face. I'm working on two ideas right now. One is this whole demon of social networking, which is, social media, and one on farmers' suicide, because that's relevant today.